Okay, the wheelchair fighting man is going to shoot from the hip. Basically, I'm fed up with people having a bash at Tony Bellew about fighting David Haye with one leg. At the end of the day, David Haye has gone on Sky News most recently, and he has said that it was a complete freak accident with the Achilles tendon. Now, I don't know whether this is like some sort of public ploy by Haye to get public sympathy, but actually you can just tell by the guy. The thing is with David Haye is, when he's being genuine, and when he's thinking, hold on a second, hands up here. Potentially he didn't need to bring up the toe with the Klitschko fight, but he did, which he admits was a mistake, and he could have just said, well, I wasn't 100% for that fight, certain things weren't going right, and played it down, but he didn't. With the Bellew fight, he's been up front. He wanted to carry on. Not just because of the stick and the little toe, just because he honestly thought, and he told what he thought, where he said what people were thinking. People thought things were going to get tough past, rounds 3 or 4, and he was going to take a few punches and give in if Tony Bellew could take his power. And Tony Bellew took his power, and he took, a bit of Tony's, and he was missing a lot. There was a lot of ring rust on David Haye that night. But he just said, people thought I was going to quit. And I honestly thought going into that fight we were going to see pretty much a 10-11 round fight, which we did. But with Haye, probably my heart said Bellew, my head said Haye, because I just thought he's misunderstood as a fighter, like Chris Eubank was misunderstood as a fighter. He'll get hit, he'll give in. That was not true when Ben hit him, But the thing is with Haye is also, as well, looking at, figures of what they've earned, both guys, throughout their career. Haye has, if he's got something like 15 to 25 million laying around from Klitschko, that's great, plus the 3 million, plus the 5 million he made from the Bellew fight. They did this to secure each other's future. I have no issue with the fact that, at the end of the day, Bellew went into that fight with a broken hand. Now, if that was David Haye, if that was David Haye before a fight, David Haye probably would have said, look, I've broken my hand. I'm not, we're going to postpone. But Bellew has thought, how much does this guy have to do? He fights Ilungu Makabu with a bad, with a detached lung or something like that. Spends weeks in a hyperbaric chamber, or oxygen chamber. He's absolutely, a wreck. Had the worst training camp ever. Johnny Nelson can back that up. All you've got to do is watch the post-fight interviews with Johnny on that one. And, how much more does this man really have to prove? He's gone in there at light heavyweight. He's slimmed down tremendously from being a heavyweight amateur. And at amateur, you can say, well, you're protected by this, you're protected by that. But he went down to light heavyweight. And, he fought an elite fighter in Adonis Stevenson and, came up short and was stopped on his feet. That's not to say he'll never get knocked out. Could well happen. But I think Tony Bellew needs some credit. David Haye is giving him the credit, and Tony Bellew is telling you what he felt in the ring. He was being honest. He's saying rounds 7 and 8, I was gassed. Round 4, I took what he had and he began to fall apart. Round 5, he knocked me down, but I knew that was all he had, and I knew he was finished. Round 6, the injury happened, and then from then on, boom, but he had done everything that Haye didn't expect him to do. So even Haye said that was a surprise to him. And they proved to each other, this is what Haye has said on Sky News, that they proved to each other what, the misconceptions they had of each other as fighters. I think that's important, as well. But, yeah, give Bellew some credit. At the end of the day, how many of us, if David Hay was on one leg in front of us for 3.5 million, which is some of the estimations I'm here coming in, I'm not trying to get rich or counting his money, I'm just saying, give the guy some credit. If there was 3.5 million there, which could secure, your future, your kid's future, and then some, and you had you had a guy who was legitimately injured, but he was still dangerous. He was still dangerous. If Bellew, I've said this before in the previous thing, but if Bellew had gone in there, guns blazing, he still could have got hit. And we've seen Hay pull wins out of nowhere before. We've seen Hay in his peak decide, I'm going to do that. And I don't really think that much has changed with David Hay. I just think that when you've got those amount of muscles, you've got built up muscles, you're putting your body through stress constantly. He's been training from the rehab that he's had. His body has been training from the rehab that he's had. Then he's been back into boxing training. Now, whether he's fought nobody's bums or somebody's, he's been putting through his body to be in a specific kind of shape. It's not really had any rest time since the shoulder injury, and other muscles have been compensating, and you don't know. I'm not saying the Achilles is compensating for the arm, but you don't know how other muscles react around the body, how the muscles in the back react, how different muscles will compensate without you even knowing it. And you can have the best doctors in the world and they can't predict this. So I think at the end of the day, why can't we just say, hey, Tony Bellew won, he beat David Hay. If Bellew had got injured or hurt himself in the same way, I don't think he would have got any credit. I think Hay would have just said, oh, that's David Hay, that's the rules of boxing, protect yourselves at all times and all this and all that. And Hay would have, let's face it, he's not been known to show a lot of compassion. Tony Bellew has come forward and he said what he's for. And I don't think we can keep saying, one-legged man. The Lucas Brown fight, for me, if Bellew takes that and he wins that, I think everyone can shut up then. And I think they should shut up now. The guy's achieved everything he's wanted to achieve. If we don't see him in the ring again, I don't think it's a bad move for Bellew. Because if you're not doing it, like Nigel Benn famously said, if you're not doing it for titles and you're just doing it for cash, what are you doing it for? It's got to be for a sense of pride. It's got to be for, being called the champ, being, aiming for something and achieving it. Money comes and goes. So I think, for Bellew, I think he could beat Lucas Brown. I think he's got the speed to do it. I think he's got the power to do it. But I also think he's got tremendous boxing knowledge to do it. I know he's not stupid enough to jump in the ring against people that he knows he's not going to stand a chance against. And if I'm honest, at this late night sort of feeling, I'm just going through the internet, I'm just going through YouTube, I'm just getting a vibe for what things is going on, and this is what it's telling me is, Bellew didn't win nothing. Well, he did, and he has, and you've got to face it. And David Hay probably would have run out of steam. It probably would have been Bellew in the 12th. I reckon it would have been Bellew later that would have stopped David Hay without an injury. But the way the fight was going, Hay was missing a lot. People don't look at that. They look at what they want to see, and they see the power punches landing. They don't see the power punches that didn't land. And that's the uneducated eye of the uneducated boxing fan. Now, Hay, in my opinion, I had it even up until that point for various reasons. I think Bellew was showing good defence. I think Bellew was also being slightly more aggressive. Hay was waiting for the counter. But I think Hay was throwing more power shots. So there's 50-50, argument for it. but Bellew won. Face it, get over it.